this last show I did like 2 weeks ago was one of the first where I was like, you can do this. You can actually, because now I've done it over 10 times, all different iterations and whatnot. But I'm like, I think you actually can do this.
Yeah.
That's not going to be perfect, but if something happens, like, you can figure out, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
So, we're figuring it out, slowly but surely.
Should have trusted me when I wanted to produce a show.
I know. There's still time.
Yeah,
still time.
I still do. Who's your favorite, or what is your favorite one-person show?
Billy Crystal's 700 Sundays.
Okay.
So I saw that in high school. He did a run of it in Minneapolis, and he had done it before, but he kind of had like revised it, updated it, and he did like a pre-Broadway run in Minneapolis at the Pantages, and I remember being like mesmerized. I loved that show. I've watched it since then because they recorded it for like HBO. It is the most amazing show, and he does not stop talking for, I think there might even be an intermission, I don't know, but he just comes on stage and he goes, okay, it's 1974, my dad pulls up and he's got a brand new Buick something, and I'm out of the yard, and instantly you're just in it.
You're there.
And the set was his childhood home, exactly how it looked.
That's pretty cool.
And his dad used to own this record shop in New York, and he knew like Etta James and the best jazz musicians of all time. So Billy grew up amongst them. Mm-hmm. So then you add the comedy in, and then how did he figure that out? And then his dad dies. And it's just like this amazing life that he combines into. I think it's probably about 90 minutes. I think that's it. But there's no opener. There's nothing. He comes out raw dogging it. And I just remember being like, okay. And there's not like, and now we go to a clip. I think there was like one moment where it was like his old, but he made it into a bit.
Right.
There wasn't like, all right, let's watch this scene. Because I saw William Shatner's one man show, and he's from Star Trek, and that was a lot of it. Like, when I was in Star Trek, let's take a look. And and then he would watch it with us, and I'd be like, okay, like, I guess that works too. That was an interesting. His was good, but it wasn't 700 Sundays.
Sure.
That was that. Speaking of that too, that was one of the first kernels too, where I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever he just did, but he wasn't singing either.
Sure.
The singing came later, but I was like, that was amazing. I want to do my own 700 Sundays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we might have talked about it before. I don't remember what your answer was. You've seen John Leguizamo's Freak?
I don't think so. Have I?
You would know if you've seen it. Have you seen any of his one-man shows?
I don't think so. Maybe I have.
It's okay. John Leguizamo is the best.
Okay, well maybe I have. I've seen him. Yeah, he's my favorite. I was making a joke. Of course I've seen him. He's my favorite.
Okay.
I will write him. I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
You can Amazon. I've Amazoned it for $2.99.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's well worth it.
All right.
And also, if you don't want to pay the $2.99, on Netflix he has a one-man show called the Latin History for Idiots.
That does sound familiar.
Where he goes through like all of Southern America and their history.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, but Freak is your bag.
All right.
I might show you a clip after this.
All right.
All right.
Great.
I will.
I love it.
Laura Dellis is the queen of promotion. No one works or hustles harder than her, and it shows with her audience. I think she's one of the only people that I've seen. Well, that's not true. She's one of the first people that I've seen that have had an all civilian audience. Because a lot of what we do, especially in Chicago, is improvisers doing improv for improvisers.
Right.
And Laura Dellis' audience is usually civilians, which is very refreshing and should be applauded, because it is not easy to get people that don't have any anything to lose. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
hard to get people that.
Butts and seats.
It's hard to get butts and seats.
It's-
What's your philosophy on promotion? How far out do you start? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that is the single worst thing about the show. Promoting the show sucks. It sucks. And I admit that with all my chest. Like, I dream of a day where I have a promoter or somebody helping me promote this show. And not saying that my friends don't help. I do have a producer too. He helps. But it's like, it's all on me. Like,
Yeah.
it's all on me to ask, hey, can you post this? Hey, can we, fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
As I started to be like, I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to do more of these shows. Every show was like, no one's going to come to this. No one's going to come. So out of pure fear, I was like, I need to order 100 postcards. And I need to get everyone's address. And I would just text people. You've gotten multiple texts. Hey, what is your address again? And I have this giant spreadsheet. And I go through it, and it's probably like 200 addresses.
Yeah.
And I fill each one out. And I send them out. And I spend like $100 on stamps. It's also, marketing is also super pricey too.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta factor it in. But then you're like, but if I get a sold out crowd, I'm gonna make the money back. But you need that sold out crowd to get there. So, the philosophy is, go as far as you can with it while still being like cool and like respectful and chic about it.
Sure.
I would say don't be annoyed about it. And I'm sure I've bordered on that, although I really try not to be annoyed about it. But there is a way to effortlessly throw the show into almost any conversation. I've gotten a lot better at that. And also owning it. And that was something I was talking about with my producer last year while we were kind of gearing up for this run. And he was like, you just gotta own it.
Yeah.
He's like, people at this point, Laura, they're not going because, oh, well, Laura's got a show. Like, they're going because they want to go to the show.
Right.
At this point, it's no longer, it's not, oh, well, let's go support her. And maybe that is, maybe I'm wrong. But the last show I had, I didn't recognize barely anybody in the audience.
Neither did I. I figured you might have.
No. I had a couple
Right.
true fans who come to almost all of them, but I went out into, I have to go into the crowd at one point. I was like, I don't know anybody. Like, so that's awesome.
Of course.
That shows to me your hustle is working.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, as kind of a counterpoint, the last annoying show I did, now keep in mind, I did have kind of a rough time. I had a Friday at 6 o'clock. I was like, that's a rough time slot.
A horrible time slot.
Horrible.
Because
And
getting through the city, people get off of work at 5. To get anywhere in the city
I know.
is damn near an hour. Anywhere.
I know.
Even if you're in Wrigleyville and you're going to Boys Town in that traffic, to park and everything, you're not walking up those stairs until 6 o'clock.
Well, and they weren't even opening the doors to the theater until 6 o'clock. But I love you, annoyance, and you know that. Anyway, I just was like, this is a really hard time slot. But that's what I ended up with, money and all that crap. So then I was like, okay. I did more marketing than I've ever done before. I was going out on the streets into the middle of market days, throwing myself at gays and theys and girlies who I knew would like the show. I know my clientele. And I was just begging them to come. I've never hundreds of postcards handed out. I'm on the streets, just outside the annoyance. I did that a couple times.
I saw the videos.
Yep. Because if you don't post about it, it didn't happen, John.
Yeah.
Everything's marketing when you really think about it. And I went on the news. But getting on the news too, everyone's like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, it took so much work.
Right.
Because they wouldn't read anything from me. Like, I submitted to them, I did their packet, I did everything. Nothing. Then I remembered that I used to get interviewed on the radio a lot for promotion, which was awesome. Through a friend of a friend, I was able to get into that. And then they liked me, so they would keep bringing me back, thank God. But then I met this co-host there, and she would sometimes fill in on the news.
Right.
So I barely knew her, but she was super nice to me. So I just DM'd her, and I was like, hey girl, no problem if no, but would really love to get on to this show. And then she like didn't respond for days. I was like, that was a stupid idea. Why did you do that? And then she was like, oh my God, of course. Like, I'll talk to the producer today. I'm filling in.
Awesome.
And then she talked to the producer. And then a couple days went by. She's like, did that producer ever reach out to you? And I went, no, but it's okay. Like, no problem. And she's like, I'm going to go tell her again. I was like, oh my God, these people are going to hate me. And then the producer reached out.
Yeah.
It took so much back and forth, and me just being like, hey, just checking back in. Hey, constantly submitting. And then I got in the news.
That's awesome.
But then that was the lowest selling show. And I think, once again, the day, the time, all of that plays into it.
Yeah.
But I got like 25 people. And then I got super sick too. And I literally was about to have like a full, I don't think I've ever had a panic attack. Like an actual, like, my heart, I lost my voice. I couldn't sing. Mucus, I was covered in mucus. I'm backstage, I'm holding the door handle, because there's, and I heard, and now give it up for Lord. And I was like, I can't do this. I've never had such a low self-esteem moment. Minutes before, trying to carry like a 75-minute show by myself.
Right. So what'd you do?
I went on stage. I tried to act like things were normal, and I wasn't hitting the notes. So then I got through the song, the opening song, and I said, okay, I'm going to fill y'all in on what's going on right now. And I just started, and I just was super honest. I said, I'm super sick. I'm so anxious. I really want to do a good job for you all. And I said, we're just going to take this by, as it is, and we're just going to have fun. Everyone's, okay, good. Yeah. 25 people, yeah. Spread out all over the theater. Nobody sits in one spot. So you're like, okay, cool. And I started to sing. Like, speaking of Music Man, I'm like, nice to meet you, where you been? I can show you incredible things. Taylor Swift is like, got a long list of ex-lovers. Because when you're in your kind of upper register, it doesn't affect your chords as much.
Okay.
Weird thing. So, and then my friend in the audience said, I saw it in your eyes the moment the mic broke down. Because the mic stopped working. Jesus. And then my pants broke. It was somewhere along the time that I was like, they just were like, I just saw you be like, fuck it. Fuck it. I start scatting. I'm riffing. I go off script. I'm cutting songs in the moment. I'm like, I can't sing that song. I'm playing. I suddenly felt so loose.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I, unfortunately, I've always wanted to feel like, but it took me getting to such a, I can't do anything but just do it. And at the end, I completely burst into tears at the end, because I always do kind of an emotional farewell speech or whatever. I said, I just cried in front of the audience. I said, I don't know what the hell that was. That was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Please come back. Please, it will be better next time. And to many, that was the best I've ever done.
Yeah. Because
it was the loosest I've ever been. And I knew, but since that point, and then I cried for days afterwards because it was so stressful and scary, and the money, and I didn't make any money back, and I just cried, and I was so sad and overwhelmed. And then it was like, okay, well, you made it through that, so you can basically, no matter what happens with the show, right. Not life, but anything that happens with the show, your boob thing falls out in the middle of the show, you'll figure it out. Your pianist bench breaks in the middle of a number, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Anything is possible now, and now I'm going to, next week, I'm doing these huge shows. I'm going back home for the first time. I've never done the show back home. Many of my family have not seen it. Some of them have traveled, but not a lot of the extended. Teachers, elementary school peers, middle school, all these people. I have 2 shows, 80 people, it's capped, we're sold out,
beautiful.
It's great. But I know I'm so excited because I'm excited to show To be seen. I'm excited to be seen, finally, by all these people that I felt like they were getting the real me. They were getting a filtered version because I really wanted them to like me. And I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I definitely don't. How many times do I have to say that? I don't have it all figured out. But I am figuring it out day by day. And I'm really excited to go home next week and just let it out. Yeah. And be funny and be the comedian that I've always wanted to be at this point in my life. And hopefully get better and better as the years go by. But it's really a full circle moment, and I'm kind of just like amped. Like I'm super excited because a week from now I'll be going home, so I'm excited.
How long does it take you and your team to prepare for a show?
If it's the iteration, like so as the years go by, it's like halfway to 50, then it was halfway to 51, then it was halfway to 52, then it was halfway to 50, halfway to 52, 3, and now this year it will be 4. So each number relatively stays the same. I'm always adding new bits. I'm always changing out songs and stuff. But tech-wise, like Eric, who has done my tech for every single show that I've done, they know. They're like, okay, this is kind of the sad moment. This part fits this. Like, they know. And then Mickey is a genius, and Eric is too. But music-wise, I will get all the sheet music together. I'm cutting. I'm trying to figure out the keys, all that stuff. And then I'll just give it to Mickey and hope and pray that this mashup of like Lady Gaga and Jesus Christ Superstar will somehow work together. Because in my head it really sounds great. And then he's like, oh, just give me a couple minutes. He's playing. Okay, let's start from the top. And then it's like, it sounds perfect. He's like, that didn't sound good. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? That was like insane how good that sounded. So they don't need much time. It's me. I have to, so now into 54, and the next one, we're still figuring out the date, but it'll be in June at some point, maybe late May. And I'm like, okay, as we're preparing for these, as we're still in the last iteration, we gotta start figuring out new stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like figuring out, not that I would know too much about it, but like what I'd imagine a comedian, like a special, like a taping, like your hour. But it's like
this
new songs.
This isn't working.
This isn't working. This is working. And even the 2 weeks ago, I was watching the video. I was like, oh my god, why would anyone like this? This isn't funny.
It's relatable though. It's relatable.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the topics that you dive into in your special, where it's dating in your mid-20s and depression and just being so vulnerable on stage. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't be so brave.
I don't know. People throw that word around too. You're so brave. I guess.
Well, brave as in being that vulnerable in front of a room full of strangers. Yeah.
And I think that's the magic of the show is I don't think people expect it to get to the places that it goes to, and I try to keep it that way. I don't tell them about one specific part. I kind of just keep it hidden in order to kind of be like, oh, what? And I can tell immediately when people are like, oh, this isn't a bit. Like the energy that I feel, you could hear it like a pin drop.
Sure. It's
the first time I did it, and actually every time I do it, it's terrifying. Because people, they're not laughing anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, this is like real. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly what went from laughter, I'm hearing like, and all over the place. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's good. I think I'm doing this right. But I'm like, don't worry about them. This is a moment where you got to be so in tune with yourself right now. And then I try to bring it right back up with the next bit. So I try. I have so much respect for stand-up comedy and stuff like that. It hurts me to even be like, oh yeah, I do stand-up comedy, because I have such respect for it.
Who's your favorite stand-up?
Somebody asked me that the other day. It's just there's so many. A Steve Martin. Marty Short doesn't really do it, but I love him. I love Marty Short. Like, they're a two-man show. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
The Nikki Glazers, the Elijah Schletzinger, I love a lot of like just the local Chicago comics, like Claire Sunby and stuff like that. Like I just love, you know, a Laugh Factory night where I'm just watching in awe, and I'm like, I don't know if I can. You know, it's just stand-up comedy to many is like the scariest thing that you can do, and I would agree with that.
Sure.
But I've been, you know, I've really been pushing myself to do more open mics and say I do stand-up comedy and own it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But
I have such respect for it, as I do with improv and sketch. Once again, that belief, it's just like, I'm getting there, but I'm like, I'm not that good. I'm not good at sketch, I can't write. And then people come up to me and they're like, oh, I love your writing. Your writing is so funny and good. And I'm like, no, it's not. Get out of here. No, it's not.
Stop saying that.
Stop saying that.
Well, Laura Dellis, I think you're funny and good.
Thank you, John.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry I talk so much.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I can't pull myself away. Even though you do me wrong. Do me wrong.
First on improvkid.com.
Improvkid.com.